fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, a low, incessant hum that burrowed into Emily Zhao's skull as she sat in the sterile lobby of the Nordstrom Institute for Advanced Research. The clock on the wall ticked toward 2 p.m., each second a reminder of the interview she'd prepared for with the rigor of her nursing school days. She smoothed her skirt for the 10th time, her fingers tracing the fabric's worn seams, a nervous habit born of months spent juggling her mother's medical bills and her own abandoned dreams. The receptionist, a bored man in his 40s with a face like weathered stone, barely glanced at her when she signed in, his pen scratching her name, Emily Zhao, onto a clipboard with mechanical indifference. Emily's life had unraveled in slow, agonizing increments. 6 months prior, her mother's cancer diagnosis had forced her to drop out of nursing school, the weight of hospital bills and insurance gaps crushing her plans. Seattle's rain-soaked streets, once a backdrop to her ambitions, now mirrored her exhaustion, each droplet a reminder of debts unpaid. The Nordstrom Institute's job posting, night receptionist, $30 per hour, for 10-hour shifts per week, had been a lifeline, a chance to bridge the financial chasm threatening to swallow her and her mother. She'd memorized her answers, polished her references, and buried her doubts beneath the necessity of survival. This wasn't the career she'd envisioned, but $30 an hour could mean her mother's next treatment, a reprieve from the relentless march of medical debt. Miss Zhao, a crisp voice sliced through her thoughts. She looked up to see a tall man in a tailored suit, his posture rigid as if relaxation were a foreign concept. His nameplate read Oscar Mororo, Director. "Follow me, please." He turned without offering a handshake, his steps echoing down a hallway marked administrative offices. Emily clutched her folder of references, her heels clicking against the polished floor, each step a deeper plunge into the unknown. Mororo's office was a study in precision, its surfaces devoid of dust, papers aligned with geometric exactitude. He gestured to a chair across from his desk, and Emily sat, placing her folder on her lap. "Your application was adequate," he said, folding his hands, his voice as sterile as the room. When he smiled, Emily stifled a flinch. His teeth were unnaturally large, too numerous for his mouth, crowding his jaw like stones in a riverbed. Previous experience in healthcare, excellent attention to detail, no criminal record. The night receptionist position requires discretion and strict adherence to protocol. "We conduct sensitive research here, government contracts, proprietary technology." His eyes, unblinking, fixed on her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "The position pays $30 per hour. 10-hour shifts, 4 nights per week, midnight to 10 a.m. Emily forced a neutral expression, though her mind raced. $30 an hour could cover her mother's insurance gap, chip away at her student loans, offer a sliver of hope. "That sounds perfect," she said, her smile tight. "Perfect is not what we require, Miss Zhao. Perfect is unrealistic. We require competent. We require obedient." Mororo opened a drawer, producing a thick binder and a slim folder. "This is the employment contract," he said, sliding the folder toward her. "And this is the procedural handbook for night reception staff." Emily opened the handbook, its pages crisp under her fingers. Mororo outlined her duties: manning phones, monitoring security feeds, logging unusual activity. The first pages seemed standard, call forwarding, log formats, but a section titled Mandatory Protocols stopped her cold. "Do not accept deliveries after 11 p.m. If you receive a call from someone claiming to be your grandmother, hang up immediately. Never, under any circumstances, look directly at the security cameras. Do not open the front doors for anyone between midnight and 6 a.m., regardless of their identification. If the lights flicker more than 3 times in succession, move to the basement storage room and lock the door." Emily looked up, her voice hesitant. "Is this a joke?" Mororo's expression didn't shift, his teeth glinting faintly. "The Nordstrom Institute's work is highly classified. These protocols exist for your safety and the integrity of our research." His gaze held hers, unyielding. "All night staff receive personalized instructions based on their particular vulnerabilities. His mouth stretched into a smile that didn't reach his eyes, a grimace of too many teeth. "Now, would you like a tour of your workspace?" The reception area was a stark contrast to the chaotic nurses' stations Emily had known in clinicals. A sleek desk faced glass front doors, its surface dominated by 3 monitors displaying security feeds of hallways, labs, and exterior doors. A phone system with multiple lines sat beside a computer, its screen glowing faintly. To the right, a bank of security screens flickered, showing the Institute's sterile corridors. Mororo pointed to a red button beneath the desk. "This connects to local emergency services. Use it only for fire, severe injury, or police emergencies." He indicated a blue button. "This alerts me personally. Use it for protocol violations." He handed her a key to the basement storage room, its metal cold against her palm, and pointed out camera blind spots, designed for privacy during restroom breaks, and explained the phone forwarding system. "Any questions, Miss Zhao?" Emily's mind churned with 100, but one surfaced. "Why can't I look at the security cameras? Some of our research involves light wavelengths that can cause neurological damage when viewed through digital mediums," Mororo said without hesitation. "The cameras are safe, but human eyes should not view them directly. Peripheral vision only." The explanation felt rehearsed, a half-truth at best, but $30 an hour silenced her skepticism. "When can I start?" "Tonight, if you're available. Sign here." Emily signed, her pen scratched loud in the silent office. That night, in the apartment she shared with her mother, she read the handbook cover to cover. Rules contradicted her nursing training. Do not call for backup if you hear knocking from inside the supply closet. If the phone rings exactly 13 times, place a circle of salt around your chair. Her mother coughed in her sleep, a reminder of why she'd taken this job. The Nordstrom Institute was eccentric, perhaps paranoid, but the money was real. As she set her alarm for 11 p.m., Mororo's 2 large teeth lingered in her mind, a detail she couldn't shake. Emily's first 3 nights were deceptively mundane, the $30 hourly wage buying silence and monotony. The Institute's lobby was a glass-walled cage, its fluorescent lights casting harsh reflections on the polished floor. She logged environmental readings, checked security feeds with peripheral glances, and conducted hourly walkthroughs, her footsteps echoing in the empty corridors. Scientists working late offered curt nods, their lab coats vanishing into restricted wings. By her 3rd night, she brought a novel, finishing her tasks by 2 a.m. "Easiest money I've ever made," she muttered, settling into her chair for her 4th shift. The building hummed with its own rhythm. The ventilation system's drone, the occasional ping of metal in the walls, the analog clock's relentless tick above her desk. The handbook's rules, initially alarming, seemed like corporate hazing, a test of compliance. She avoided looking at the cameras, kept the salt container in her drawer, and dismissed the grandmother rule as absurd. Her grandmother, and I, had died 5 years ago, her voice a fading memory. The job was strange, but it paid for her mother's treatments, and that was enough. At 1:17 a.m. on her 4th night, the phone rang, shattering the silence. Emily jumped, her novel slipping to the floor. The caller ID read unknown. She lifted the receiver, reciting her script. "Nordstrom Institute Night Reception. This is Emily Zhao speaking. How may I assist you?" Silence stretched for 3 seconds, then a voice spoke. "Xiaoma, is that you?" Emily froze. No one called her Xiaoma except I. The voice was hers, warm, accented, emphasizing the second syllable of her nickname with a lilt that stirred grief. "I?" she whispered, protocol forgotten. A soft chuckle came through the line. "Of course it's me. Who else calls you Xiaoma?" The voice was perfect, every inflection a knife to her heart. "This isn't possible," Emily said, her hands trembling. "You're not real. You died." "Such nonsense." The voice scolded, Ni's familiar tone. "Have you been eating properly? You sound tired." The handbook's rule flashed in her mind. If you receive a call from someone claiming to be your grandmother, hang up immediately. But the voice continued, weaving memories only I could know. "Your mother's jade pendant, the one you wear. I gave it to you on your 16th birthday. You dropped it in the kitchen, chipped the corner. You cried, but I told you it was good luck. Perfect things attract jealousy from spirits. Emily's hand flew to her neck, the pendant's chipped edge rough under her fingers. No one else knew that story. What do you want? She asked, her voice barely audible. I left something for you in the basement supply room. Package. It will help me find my way back to you. The basement, the same room Mororo had shown her for flickering lights. I can't, Emily said, suspicion wrestling with grief. I'm not allowed to leave the desk. Since when do you follow rules so strictly? The voice laughed, knees snort at the end piercing her resolve. Remember when you cut your own bangs before New Year photos? Your mother was so angry, but I thought you looked cute. Another private memory impossibly precise. The package, Shauma. Fifth shelf, behind the paper towels. Emily's eyes darted to the security monitors. Empty hallways, no movement. She could be there and back in minutes, but the rule held her back. I have to go now, she said, and hung up, her hand trembling. For 20 minutes, she stared at nothing, the voice's perfection haunting her. How could it know Nee's memories, her laugh, her scolding tone? The rest of the night crawled by, each noise, the ventilation's hum, a distant creak, making her jump. She checked the basement door repeatedly, ensuring it remained closed. At 10 a.m., she fled to Mororo's office, her report spilling out. The call, Nee's voice, the package, her refusal to leave her post. Mororo listened, his fingers tightening on his desk's edge. Did you go to the supply room? He asked, standing abruptly. No, I stayed at my desk. His shoulders relaxed slightly. Good. The rules are not arbitrary, Miss Zhao. They protect you. The Nordstrom Institute researches phenomena beyond conventional understanding. Our work attracts entities that do not belong in our reality. Entities. Emily's stomach churned. What kind? The kind that learn quickly, adapting to emotional vulnerabilities. If you had gone to that room, you might have found something wearing your grandmother's appearance. His mouth twitched, a failed attempt at sympathy. Each rule corresponds to a documented encounter. Breaking protocol risks everyone in this facility. He promised increased security and dismissed her, his parting words a warning. Report any anomaly using the blue button. Emily's fifth shift began under the weight of new security cameras. Their lenses trained on her desk, not the entrances. The scrutiny made her skin crawl, as if she were the threat. At 2:30 a.m., rain pattered against the glass doors, distorting the empty parking lot. Her routine checks were done, the handbook open on her desk, its rules a litany of dread. A sharp knock jolted her water bottle spilling across the desk. Outside stood a woman in a lab coat, blonde hair plastered by rain, water dripping from her sleeves as she knocked again. Emily's pulse raced, the rule clear. Do not open the front doors for anyone between midnight and 6 a.m. The woman pressed her face to the glass, cupping her eyes against the glare. Relief washed over her features when she saw Emily, and she waved frantically, holding up an ID badge. From a distance, the photo matched her face, the name reading Dr. Suzanne Lang. Emily recognized it from the employee directory, a senior researcher in biological systems. Through the intercom, Emily said, I can't let anyone in between midnight and 6 a.m. Those are the rules. Dr. Lang's voice crackled through. Emily, right? I'm Dr. Lang. I stepped out to my car, and the door locked behind me. My key card demagnetized in the rain. Please, I'm soaked. Her explanation was logical, time-sensitive cultures, a quick errand, but the rule was absolute. After the grandmother's voice, Emily trusted nothing. I'll call Mr. Mororo, she offered, reaching for the phone. Dr. Lang's desperation grew. There's no time. My cultures will be ruined in 10 minutes. Use your common sense. Lightning flashed, and for an instant, Dr. Lang's shadow seemed too tall, too angular. The impression vanished, but her expression shifted, anger draining into an eerie calm. You should let me in, Emily Zhao, she said, her voice flat. It would be better for everyone. Her pupils dilated, swallowing her irises, turning her eyes into black voids. Emily pressed the blue button. Mororo answered instantly. "What protocol violation? There's someone outside," Emily whispered. "She says she's Dr. Lang, but her eyes, something's wrong. Do not open the doors. Go to the basement storage room immediately. I'm on my way." The line went dead. Emily backed away, keeping the thing in sight as it stared through the glass, unblinking, water streaming down its face. She swiped her badge at the stairwell, the lights flickering as she descended. The handbook's rule about flickering lights 3 times in succession loomed, but these were random, storm-induced. The basement hallway was dim, emergency bulbs casting weak light. The storage room's metal door loomed at the end. Her shaking hands fumbled the key, but the lock clicked, and she slipped inside, flipping the light switch. A single bulb illuminated shelves of office supplies, the air thick with dust and bleach. Emily locked the deadbolt, her breath ragged. The room was windowless, its metal door a barrier against whatever lurked above. Her phone had no signal, as Mororo had warned. Time crawled, the silence oppressive. Then, a soft scratching broke it, like nails on metal. "Emily Zhao." A voice called, Ni's voice, perfect and warm. "Xiaoma, why are you hiding? Let me in." "You're not my grandmother," Emily said, her voice steady despite her fear. "My grandmother is dead. I found a way back," the voice insisted. "Open the door. I'm so cold." The scratching intensified, then stopped. "You're making a mistake," it said, warmth gone, replaced by a cold menace. Something heavy slammed the door, the impact shaking the frame. Emily backed against the shelves, knocking over paper clips. The pounding continued, interspersed with whispers. Ni's voice, Dr. Lang's, strangers, until it ceased abruptly. Footsteps approached, deliberate and slow. A key turned in the lock. Emily grabbed a stapler, her only weapon. The door opened, revealing Mororo, his suit immaculate. A flush on his pale face, the only sign of haste. "Are you injured?" he asked, scanning the room. "No. What was that thing?" "It's been taken care of," he said, adjusting his cuffs. It approximated Dr. Lang's appearance, but lacked subtleties. Its eyes turned black when you refused entry, a sign it couldn't maintain the facade. He confirmed Dr. Lang was at a conference in Geneva, the entity choosing her identity for access. "You performed admirably, Miss Zhao." Few night receptionists adhere to protocol during their first encounter. "First encounter?" Emily's skin crawled. "This will happen again?" "The protocols exist for a reason," Mororo said, evading. He handed her a $500 check, canceled her shift, and dismissed her. As she left, a puddle outside the doors was the only trace of the thing that had stood there. 2 nights later, Emily returned, the $500 check deposited for her mother's treatments. A new red panic button sat under her desk, a note from Mororo detailing its use, and a salary increase to $40 per hour. New handbook protocols warned of temporal duplications, staff appearing where they shouldn't be, requiring immediate retreat to a supply closet. At 3:12 a.m., movement on camera 4 caught her eye. The reception area, her desk, and her, sitting in her chair. Emily looked up, confirming she was alone. The Emily on the monitor moved jerkily, tilting her head at painful angles, shuffling papers, picking up the phone without dialing. Then it stood, its movements mechanical, and turned to the camera, smiling with too many teeth, eyes bulging. It walked to the front doors, opened them without a key card, and vanished into the night. The phone rang, Mororo's name on the caller ID. "Why have you left your post?" he demanded. "I didn't. I'm at my desk. I saw myself on camera 4. It wasn't me." Pause. "You looked directly at camera 4. We have an emergency signal from Lab 7B. Dr. Knox triggered his panic button. Go check on him immediately." The line went dead. Emily hurried to Lab 7B, its door ajar, a red light blinking. The lab was a maze of blinking machines and incomprehensible data. "Dr. Knox!" A shuffling came from behind a server rack. She found him pressed against the wall, glasses askew, blood staining his lab coat. "You're hurt," she said, stepping forward. "Stay back," he screamed. "You're not real. I watched you die." His words chilled her. "Dr. Knox, I'm Emily from reception. You hit your panic button." He shook his head, blood trickling from his nose. "You were here 20 minutes ago. Your face." He clutched his head, collapsing, blood seeping from his ears. Emily checked his pulse, weak, irregular, and hit the lab's panic button, triggering an alarm. She loosened his collar, placed him in recovery position, but his breathing faltered. "It's in the walls," he whispered before going limp. Mororo and security arrived, pulling her away as medics declared Knox dead from a cerebral hemorrhage. In a security office, Mororo showed footage. Knox talking to an unseen figure, then collapsing. Emily entered later, alone. "Something wearing your appearance visited him," Mororo said. "And something left the building wearing your appearance." The reception camera showed her looking at camera 4, against protocol. In 15 of 17 temporal duplications, staff had no memory of being in 2 places. In the other 2, they weren't who they appeared to be. A biometric scan cleared her, but she was confined under guard, a potential security breach, and witness to Knox's death. Operations resumed after a week. Emily's pay raised to $50 per hour with a $5,000 bonus. New protocols included: if infant crying is heard between midnight and 5 a.m., create a salt circle and remain inside until dawn. At midnight, the phone rang once, then stopped. Then, a baby's cry echoed from the east wing, high and plaintive. Emily's instinct to investigate was quashed by the handbook. She poured a salt circle around her desk, the cry growing louder, coming from multiple directions. A scratching came from the ceiling vent. The grate fell, and a pale, jointed hand emerged, followed by a creature resembling an infant but wrong. Translucent skin, black eyes, membranous wings. Its jaw unhinged, revealing needle-like teeth. Its cry a perfect lure. 2 more emerged, circling her salt barrier, testing it with recoiling touches. One found a gap where she'd scuffed the salt, its finger breaching the line. Emily poured more salt, sealing it. For 7 hours, she sat motionless, the creatures mimicking her mother's voice, her name, a child's plea. At dawn, they shrieked, their skin smoking in sunlight. Mororo entered, neutralizing them with a device emitting white light. "The same entity that killed Dr. Knox," he said. "It feeds on neural activity, consuming consciousness." The Institute researched quantum reality, he admitted, creating breaches that allowed such entities through. Emily was a lure, her presence stabilizing breaches, her desperation making her valuable. With 1 week left, Emily researched the Institute at the public library, finding missing night receptionists, Diane Mercer, James Holloway, Taran Nguyen, linked to the research park. Mororo's DARPA passed, and a photo showing normal teeth raised doubts. Property records revealed the Institute site was a former DARPA facility. At 1:17 a.m., Emily looked into camera 4, triggering a hidden panel. A fingerprint reader opened a secret hallway to a control room with screens showing alternate Emilys. Different hair, glasses, clothes. Files revealed the Institute used quantum viewers to observe parallel realities, with night receptionists as anchors stabilizing dimensional breaches. Rules prevented micro-breaches. Cameras created feedback loops. Flickering lights signaled breaches. The grandmother ruse exploited memories. Emily's 97% compatibility rating topped a list including the missing receptionists. Taran's file noted her loss during an entity incursion. An alarm triggered a lockdown, trapping Emily. As guards approached, screens showed Mororo, his face glitching to reveal a crystalline, non-human form. Files confirmed Oscar Nordstrom opened a dimensional aperture 5 years ago, allowing an entity, Mororo, to replace him. The Institute harvested entities for essence extraction, using receptionists as bait. Emily activated a dimensional stabilizer override, destabilizing reality. Mororo, revealed as the entity, admitted using her as an anchor. In a collapsing control room, Emily trapped Maroro in a quantum loop, offering to restore stabilizers if he sealed the breaches. He agreed, entering a glowing aperture. As he did, reality normalized, the Institute's logs wiped of dimensional research. Emily resigned, finding the handbook's rules replaced with standard protocols, save one line: doors swing both ways. The daytime staff knew only Dr. Nordstrom as director, oblivious to Maroro. Emily drove home, the handbook a reminder of the abyss she'd escaped. The Nordstrom Institute stood gleaming, but she knew its walls hid breaches, waiting for another anchor to call them forth. Could you endure a night shift where every rule defied logic, knowing your survival depended on obedience? Would you trust your reflection after seeing it walk away without you?